Hi, Will Tuttle here, and I'm looking forward to speaking via Skype for the London VegFest, the intersectionality of social justice issues special section that we'll be having there coming up in October. And I'd like to just talk a little bit about what I'll be addressing. As many people know, I'm the author of a book called The World Peace Diet, which gives the big picture of our routine mistreatment of animals for food and other products, the devastating effects of animal agriculture, the consequences of our violence towards animals as it affects not only our environment and our health, but really, I think, essentially how it affects the inner landscape of our consciousness and also our culture, and the mentality of animal agriculture as a mentality of disconnectedness, as a mentality of reductionism, as a mentality of materialism. And that this mentality, which is injected into all of us from infancy, basically through the rituals of being forced from the time we're little kids to eat animal foods, affects us at a deep level so that it makes it virtually impossible for us to create a society of justice and equality, because speciesism, the routine mistreatment of animals for food, is injected into us through the rituals, the most pervasive rituals really in our society, which are our meals. And so these attitudes of looking at others as mere objects, as things to be used, as separate from us, get injected into us at a very deep level, pre-conscious level. So I'm also the author, the editor actually, of a book called Circles of Compassion, Essays Connecting Issues of Justice. And this book and the authors that I chose to contribute essays to this book all have a perspective on various dimensions of the social justice issues, such as racism, sexism, heterosexism, ableism, and classism, the whole variety of human trafficking and so forth, injustice, and how all of these are connected at a deep level with speciesism. So one of my real passions actually is to help us as human beings to understand the profound negative effects of animal agriculture and the healing effects of veganism as not only a behavioral change, but also as an inner healing that is available to us. But I want to emphasize that going vegan is a two-step process. And I'll be talking about that more in depth during the event that we'll be having. So what I'll be focusing on essentially is materialism as the foundation of our society today based on animal agriculture, because we are forced, all of us actually, from the time we're little infants, to view cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, fishes, these animals as matter. They're sold by the pound. They're just physical matter. That's it. There's no being in there. And so after having done this for 10,000 years as a herding culture, we've developed a whole way of seeing, and science and academia and religion and economics and education, everything is pervaded by this mentality of materialism, that if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And so that has wounded all of us at a very deep level. So as vegans, it's important to understand that we can awaken out of the cultural trance of violence and stop acting in abusive ways towards animals through our purchases. But veganism is much more than merely a boycott of a very toxic and exploitative economic system. It's also requires us, I think, to make the second step, which is to question the underlying attitudes of our society and to look deeply and see that even as vegans, on the outer behavioral level, we can still have attitudes that lead to and support exploitation of other human beings, and also that reduce our capacity to be effective as vegan advocates. So I think the second step is something that we really need to talk about, which is healing the wounding that we've endured. All of us have been wounded enormously by being born into a society based on eating animal foods and learning to see beings as mere things. Because when we do that, we see other human beings as mere things. We judge others on race and sex and all these other things, these outer forms. And so veganism is about looking beyond the outer form to the being. And when we see the being, the animal, for example, we can't harm. We have respect for that being. And it's the same thing when we see other human beings, to look beyond the outer form to see the being, and to practice this, and to do that with ourselves, and to learn about this, to learn more deeply about this. And I'm going to talk about techniques of inner cultivation, of meditation, of clarification, of purification, of inner healing, that will help us as vegans make the second step, so that we can create a movement on this planet that really heals at a deep level the wounds that we've all endured in our violence towards animals, so that we can liberate not only animals, the other animals on this beautiful earth, but also liberate ourselves. So I'm really excited to talk more about this, and I'm looking forward to participating in this upcoming event. I want to thank all of you for caring, and I want to thank everyone who's working together to help make a positive changes in our society, in our world, and really in ourselves, to understand that fundamentally the only one we can actually change is ourself. And if we do that effectively, then we can be part of the awakening of the human family here on planet Earth, to live our lives as we're intended to celebrate our lives as we are intended to on this beautiful and abundant planet. Thank you very much for listening, and looking forward to our event in October. Thank you.